Great. Thank God. Okay, cool. There we go. Rebeat. Jesus Christ. Jesus, dude. Oh, it's done, though. It's done, though. And now I have it on recording with clicks, hopefully, I think. We're going to check and make sure I was actually recording. Okay, I was. Good. Oh, my God. My mic's on. Woohoo! Let's go. Okay, 1485. So I'm going to see what the difference is on the rebeat. So the rebeat... 1485 and... 1194. No, I can't do that easy. Okay, I'm just gonna fucking pull out a calculator. I could probably do it in my head, but I don't give a shit. 1485 plus 1194. Wow, 2679, and then the difference. So 204. Oh, whoops! I took a screenshot. Okay, 204 attempts on the rebeat. That's not bad. All right, so I beat this the first time and didn't realize my mic was off the whole recording. So I beat it and then gave my thoughts, my extensive thoughts, and I think I covered everything pretty well, and I was like, cool, done. And then my mic was off, so I had to rebeat it. It didn't take too long. But I guess I'll give my thoughts again. Wow. So this whole level, as I was practicing it, felt unredeemably awkward. Like, everything in this level felt like, wow, this sucks to play. Once I actually learned everything in the level, it got really fun, right? Once I knew what I was doing, and once I had everything kind of under control, I had a feel for everything, it was really, like, this is a really fun level. I would highly recommend this. It's not without its flaws, and I'll get to those, but like I say, once you know what you're doing, this is very fun. The very beginning, the first part is okay. There's one or two clicks that I felt were a little unbalanced or just kind of unfair difficulty comparatively to the rest of the part. But first part was whatever. Wasn't super exciting, didn't feel super satisfying, but it wasn't. It didn't feel terrible, it didn't feel unfair. You know what I mean? Like, it was fine. The next part was probably the easiest in the level, quite honestly. The only thing I would mention... Well, there are two things. One, the robot jumps, where you have to, like, get the slope bug to happen. Usually it would happen, sometimes it didn't, and there wasn't a good indicator of whether or not you'd done it right. So that was just kind of awkward and weird to kind of deal with, right? Because you do what you think is correct, and then you just don't get the slope bug, and you're like, well, what did I do differently? You know what I mean? Like, in, like, a wave part that's just, like, a standard wave part, you die, and you're like, oh, I see what I died to, I get it. The robot, like, trying to get the bug, it was like, that was kind of weird. Like, that felt like it should have worked, you know what I mean? Not a big deal, especially considering it's so early on in the level, but that was kind of annoying, so I thought I'd mention it. And then the jump from the flat platform onto the sloped platform before the last black orb. So 2 clicks before that black orb. There are invisible H blocks there, and I don't know what purpose they were like intended to serve. I really don't. They seem completely unnecessary. Maybe they're to fix some bug or skip or something. I don't know, man. But they felt like pointless. I died there a few times from 0 before I realized they were there, and then once I realized they were there, they actually did help you, but it was just a weird choice to have like a completely invisible 2 blocks just in the level, just there. Felt odd. Next part was fine, really fun if it worked. The problem was, so for that duel, the wave duels, there's like 4 segments of wave duel, right? Those at the drop, right at like 20 something, those 4 segments of wave duel, I'm only watching the wave. The other vehicles, the other game mode is just happening, right? Me doing the wave part just makes the other thing work. Most of the time, sometimes it doesn't. And the problem was, you could do something that looked really natural and fair with the wave that would kill the robot or ball or whatever it was, right? Biggest offenders were in the robot part, actually. The ball almost never died. Like, almost never. The robot part, though, the last red orb in the 3rd section and the last black orb in the 4th section could both... you could die to those very easily, and I did die to the red orb by jumping too high off the platform before the red orb, and when I hit the red orb, I jumped into the spikes above the platform you're supposed to land on. I did that on my first completion, and then on my second completion, I did die to the black orb because I hit it too late, but the wave was fine. The wave looked normal. So, little thing I thought I'd mention, not my favorite, right? It was unfortunate that you could do what looked entirely correct to the wave, and then the robot would just, like, surprise, you're dead. Wasn't my favorite. The part after that with the... Why am I at this screen? Let's go to this screen. Here we go. Oh, look at that. The part after... Oh, I need to hit the leaderboard. Part after that with the... Oh yeah, the ship duels. The ship duels. This part was fire. I love this part. There were 1 or 2 things that were kind of tricky to get down, but once I had this part down, it pretty much worked every time unless I was a dumbass, and I was a few times. But it's so clever, and it's done well. That's what's impressive to me, right? It's not just like an interesting concept and then like whatever execution. Like the concept's great and it's executed so well too. Highly, highly, highly... I was going to say recommend that part. That doesn't make sense. I don't know, but I love that part. So for those that didn't understand on a first watch through or whatever, because I didn't, even when I was playing it initially, I didn't quite get what was happening. When you hit one of the green custom orbs, green square orbs, the ship now has a hitbox that the ball or spider can collide with. So essentially the ball can ride along the ship. Or spider can ride along the ship, basically, is what happens. And when you hit a red custom orb, then the hitbox goes away, so now the spider or ball will go through the ship. It's so well done, and it gets to a point where you're really not thinking about it like that. You're just thinking about the click pattern. But it's so clever, and the fact that that concept didn't really ever bug for me is mind-blowing. Right? Like, it just hats off. That part's incredible. The next part was fine. Starkey's part was alright. Nothing super fun. The cube... the mini cube is probably the easiest part of the single easiest section of the level, probably. Then the duels after it were tricky. I really like the first duel with the wave and UFO. I like that one a lot. The wave and ball duel, I have a comment. No, I'm dying, I think. So to get the ball, you had to get the ball up into the gravity, the blue pads, and then down into the upside down portal, right? And to do that without dying in the upside down portal, you had to click pretty early. Right, ideally, like a buffer would have worked. The problem, though, is because of how the wave's set up, you're not clicking like early. You're clicking basically while you're on the platform, while the ball's on the platform. And it was very possible to do something that looked fine with the wave that ended up clicking too late for the ball, and then you would die in the transition out, which. The ball would hit the saw to the top right of the yellow portal there, which was not my favorite. You could pretty much avoid it most of the time, and you could kind of compensate for it, but it was still kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it still kind of was not my favorite thing. I don't think it happened to me from zero, luckily, but in practice it was happening all the time. And it really didn't feel like there was much I could do to avoid it either, which wasn't my favorite. And then the last part's pretty straightforward. There wasn't too much difficult there. I'm trying to think of any comments I have for the last part. The wave at the end is slightly awkward, just in general. But really, it's not a big deal. The last part's fine. I died there way more than I should have. Both on the initial completion, I died at 87 and 89. Actually, 89 and then 87. That was the order. The 89 death, I almost fluked the level from like 49 or some shit, and then died actually after the wave spider duel. I was out of the duel and I died in the like little spam up wave, which was just fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't know. The last part was good. It was solid. It was fairly simple, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? It worked. It was nice. It was relatively fun. It was fun. It was fun when I wasn't being a dumbass. Let's put it that way. When I was, because I did die in that part on the rebeat like 3 times, 4 times, like just unnecessarily large amount of time. It was stupid. It was really stupid. But yeah, it was very fun. Very fun level. I would recommend this. Yeah, hats off to all the creators, all the people in this collab for making, I mean, basically coming out of nowhere with this and making such an insanely impressive level. Right? Because, I mean, I've heard of some of these creators before, but I did not know this existed. Right? I had no idea this was a thing. And then it, like, released, got epic, and I was like, what is this? Oh shit, this is fire. So, yeah, hats off, really fun gameplay. I would highly, highly recommend this one. Overall, this, like I say, it had a few issues, but they weren't too much of a hindrance. Overall, this was very fun. I would recommend this level. Alright, I'm going to cut the recording here now. Bye.